Adam Bennett had learned to measure his life in small disasters. The rent notice slipped under the door, the electric bill he couldn't pay on time, the stack of medical debt collection letters he kept in a drawer because looking at them made his chest tight. Tonight was just another Monday, another late night at the office hunched over his laptop typing taglines for products nobody would remember. The kind of work that paid just enough to keep him and his daughter from slipping under completely, but not enough to ever climb out. His phone buzzed at 8:45. Miss Carter from the daycare. His daughter had a fever. If it didn't break by morning, he needed to pick her up early. He said he would be there. He always was. Adam saved his document and shut down his computer. The office was nearly empty. Most people had left hours ago. He grabbed his jacket and headed for the elevator, his mind already running through the math. Doctor's visit. Maybe antibiotics. Money he didn't have. He turned the corner too fast. The collision happened in an instant. Papers scattered across the polished tile. A leather portfolio hit the floor with a sharp crack. Adam dropped to his knees immediately. "I'm so sorry." He started gathering the documents, and that's when he looked up. Luna Sterling. Everyone at Sterling Marketing Solutions knew who she was. Vice president at 29. The kind of woman who commanded entire boardrooms without raising her voice. Cold in the way that powerful people often were. Untouchable. She crouched across from him, her movements precise and controlled. Her dark eyes assessed him for a brief second, then returned to the scattered papers. They worked in silence, collecting the documents. Adam handed her the folder and stood. "Thank you," Luna said. Her voice carried no warmth, just acknowledgement. She turned to leave, but Adam saw it. A cream-colored envelope embossed and sealed, half hidden beneath a filing cabinet near the wall. "Wait," he called out. Luna stopped, turned back. Adam jogged toward her, holding out the envelope like it might burn his fingers if he held it too long. Luna took it from him. Her expression shifted slightly. She opened her purse and pulled out 5 crisp $100 bills. "For your trouble," she said, extending the money toward him. Adam stared at the bills. $500, that was groceries for 2 months. That was his daughter's fever breaking without him lying awake calculating whether he could afford the copay. He shook his head. "I was just returning something that wasn't mine. I don't need to be paid for that." Luna's eyes narrowed as if she were trying to solve a puzzle she hadn't expected to encounter. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." Adam walked away, leaving her standing in the hallway with the money still in her hand. What Adam didn't know was that Luna Sterling never forgot moments like that. She went back to her office and pulled up the employee directory. Adam Bennett, copywriter lower tier, single father, financial history strained, medical debt substantial, no corporate alliances, no connections to her brother Derek. Luna leaned back in her chair. She had been looking for someone clean, someone she could control. Someone with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Adam Bennett fit the profile perfectly. 4 days later, Adam received an email from Human Resources. He was being summoned to the 36th floor at 9 o'clock the following morning. No explanation, no context, just a meeting request with Luna Sterling's name attached to it. Adam read the email 3 times, trying to figure out what he had done wrong. He showed up at 8:55 wearing the only suit he owned that still fit properly. The 36th floor was all glass and steel, sharp edges and cold light. A receptionist directed him to a conference room at the end of the hall. Luna was already there, sitting at the head of a long table. She gestured to the chair across from her. Adam sat. And that's when his entire life changed. If you're hooked on Adam and Luna's story, drop a comment below telling me what you think will happen next. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss part 2 when Adam discovers exactly what Luna wants from him. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. Luna didn't waste time with pleasantries. "I've reviewed your employment record," she said. "You're competent, reliable, and utterly unremarkable." Adam wasn't sure how to respond to that, so he stayed silent. Luna folded her hands on the table. "I need you to do something for me, something that has nothing to do with your job." Adam's stomach tightened. "What kind of something?" Luna reached into a folder beside her and pulled out a document. She slid it across the table. "My father died 2 years ago," she said. "He left Sterling Marketing Solutions to me. But there was a clause in his will. The person in control of the company must be married." Adam looked down at the document, then back at Luna. "If I don't marry before my 30th birthday, control of the company transfers to my brother Derek." Luna's voice remained steady, clinical. "My birthday is in 5 months. So get married," Adam said. "I am," Luna replied. "To you." The words hung in the air between them. Adam laughed. It came out nervous and sharp. "You're joking." "I don't joke about business." Luna leaned forward slightly. "I need a husband, not a real one, a contract. 6 months, no emotion, no complications, just a performance." "Why me?" Luna's eyes locked onto his. "Because you have no reason to refuse." She opened another folder. Inside were financial documents. Adam's financial documents. "You owe $120,000 in medical debt from your wife's illness. You're 2 months behind on rent. Your daughter's daycare is barely covered by your current salary." Luna's tone was matter-of-fact, like she was reading a grocery list. "I can fix all of that." Adam's hands clenched beneath the table. "I can erase your debt, double your salary, provide full health insurance for you and your daughter, set up an education fund that will cover her college tuition completely." Luna paused. "All you have to do is play a role." "What role?" "My husband." Luna pulled out another sheet of paper. "You'll move into my penthouse, attend family dinners, pose for photographs, convince my brother and the board that we're a real couple." Adam's mind was spinning. This was insane. This was illegal. This was a way out. "What does playing the role mean?" he asked quietly. "Specifically?" "It means acting like a married couple when it matters. Holding hands, standing close, making people believe we're in love." Luna's expression didn't waver. "My brother is looking for any excuse to prove I'm unfit to lead. If he suspects the marriage is fake, he'll dig until he finds proof. We can't give him that." Adam swallowed hard. "Will we be sharing a bed?" For the first time, something flickered in Luna's eyes. Not quite emotion, but close. "Only when necessary," she said. "Only when we need to convince someone who matters." The room fell silent. Adam thought about his daughter, about the collection notices, about the fear that kept him awake every night doing calculations that never added up to enough. "I need 24 hours, he said. Luna stood. "That's fine." She handed him a folder with the terms written out in legal language he could barely understand. "Read it carefully," she said. "This is a business transaction, nothing more." Adam took the folder and stood. Luna walked him to the door. "One more thing," Adam said, turning back. "If I agree, my daughter stays out of it. No publicity, no involvement. She doesn't know this is fake." Luna nodded once, agreed. That night, Adam sat in his daughter's room and watched her sleep. She was small for her age, her breathing soft and steady. Her dinosaur nightlight cast shadows across the wall. He thought about the life he was giving her. The cramped apartment with the leaking faucet, the second-hand clothes, the birthday parties she didn't get invited to because other parents knew he couldn't afford to reciprocate. He thought about what Luna was offering: stability, security, A future that didn't involve him lying awake at 3 in the morning doing math in his head and coming up short every single time. But he also thought about what he was selling, himself, his time, his dignity, maybe. Adam picked up his phone and read through the contract again. All the terms were there, the money, the timeline, the rules. No emotional attachment, no physical relationship unless required for appearances. Termination clause after 6 months. He typed out a message to Luna. "I'll do it, but my daughter stays completely out of this. No exceptions." Luna's reply came within 2 minutes. "Agreed. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow to finalize the paperwork." Adam set the phone down and closed his eyes. He had just agreed to sell 6 months of his life to a woman he barely knew. He wasn't sure if that made him smart or desperate. Probably both. The contract was signed 2 days later in a lawyer's office downtown. Adam read through every page, even though half the legal terminology went over his head. The lawyer, a stern woman in her 50s, explained each clause in excruciating detail. Payment schedule, confidentiality agreements, termination conditions. At the bottom of the final page, Adam signed his name. Luna signed hers. They shook hands. It felt like sealing a business deal, which Adam supposed it was. "You'll move in on Friday," Luna said as they left the office. "I'll have someone help with your things." "I don't have much," Adam replied. Luna nodded. "That's fine." Friday came too quickly. Adam packed his life into 3 duffel bags and 2 boxes. That was all he owned that mattered. Clothes, his daughter's drawings, a few photographs. A moving service Luna had arranged picked everything up at noon. By 2 o'clock, Adam was standing in the lobby of Luna's building staring up at a glass tower that seemed to pierce the sky. The doorman knew his name. The elevator required a key card. Everything was smooth and efficient and completely foreign. The penthouse occupied the entire top floor. When the elevator doors opened, Adam stepped into a space that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. White furniture arranged with mathematical precision. Art on the walls that probably cost more than Adam's annual salary. Luna was waiting for him. "Your room is this way," she said, leading him down a long hallway. The guest room was at the far end. It was bigger than Adam's entire apartment had been. King-sized bed, private bathroom, a desk by the window. "The rules," Luna said from the doorway. "No crossing boundaries, no personal questions, no expectations beyond what's written in the contract. I leave for work at 6:30. I return around 8. We'll coordinate schedules for any public appearances." "Understood," Adam said. Luna's eyes swept over the room, once then returned to him. "This doesn't have to be difficult," she said. "Just think of it as a job. Right, a job." Luna left without another word. Adam sat on the edge of the bed and looked around. Everything was pristine, untouched, cold. He felt like an intruder in someone else's life, because that's exactly what he was. The first family dinner was scheduled for Sunday. Luna briefed him on Saturday morning over coffee. Coffee he made himself because Luna didn't cook and apparently didn't eat breakfast. "Derek will be there," she said, scrolling through her phone, "along with his wife Caroline, and probably 2 or 3 board members my father used to play golf with." "What do I need to know?" Adam asked. Luna set her phone down. "Derek is going to test you. He'll ask questions. Try to find inconsistencies in our story. You need to stay calm and keep your answers simple. How did we meet? At the office. We kept it quiet because we didn't want workplace gossip. How long have we been together? 8 months. We got married 3 weeks ago. Small ceremony. Just us and a witness." Adam nodded, committing the details to memory. "Derek doesn't believe in love," Luna added. "He thinks everyone operates from self-interest. So don't try to sell him on romance, just be consistent. Got it. Luna studied him for a moment. You'll be fine. Just follow my lead. The Sterling estate was 40 minutes outside the city, hidden behind iron gates and manicured hedges. Adam had never seen a house like it. It wasn't a house, it was a mansion. Stone facade, fountain in the driveway, windows that glowed like something out of a Gothic novel. Luna pulled up to the entrance and cut the engine. "Remember," she said, "we're married. Act like it." They walked to the door together. Luna's hand brushed against Adam's and he took it. Her fingers were cold. A butler answered the door and led them through a foyer that echoed with their footsteps. The dining room was cavernous, crystal chandelier, table that could seat 20. Derek was already there, leaning against the bar with a glass of whiskey in his hand. He looked like Luna. Same dark eyes, same sharp features. But where Luna's face was controlled and composed, Derek's carried a smugness that set Adam's teeth on edge. "Luna," Derek said, setting his glass down. "You're early." "We left with time to spare," Luna replied smoothly. Derek's eyes moved to Adam. He crossed the room, extending his hand. "You must be the husband I've been hearing about." Adam shook his hand. Derek's grip was just a little too tight. "Adam Bennett," Adam said. "Derek Sterling, Luna's brother." Derek smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "This is quite a surprise. I didn't know Luna was seeing anyone. We kept it quiet," Luna said, stepping closer to Adam. "So I hear." Derek gestured to the table. "Please sit. Dinner will be ready soon." 2 board members arrived shortly after. Both men in their 60s, wearing expensive suits and carrying the confidence of people who had never worried about money. Dinner was served at 7. Adam sat beside Luna, his hand resting on the back of her chair because that's what a husband would do. The conversation was polite and shallow. Business. Market trends. A charity gala next month. Derek watched them from across the table. "So, Adam," he said during the second course, "what is it you do at Sterling Marketing?" "I'm a copywriter," Adam replied. "Ah, and that's how you met my sister?" "Yes." One of the board members, a man named Howard, with silver hair and a voice like gravel, leaned forward. "Must have been quite the office romance." Luna placed her hand over Adam's. Her touch was deliberate, calculated. "We tried to keep it professional," she said. "But some things are hard to ignore." Derek's eyes narrowed slightly. "I'm sure." The meal continued. Adam answered questions when asked, kept his answers brief, and tried not to look as uncomfortable as he felt. Luna was perfect. Calm. Controlled. Every gesture looked natural. When dessert was served, Derek raised his glass. "To Luna and Adam," he said, "may your marriage be everything you hoped it would be." Everyone raised their glasses. Adam caught the edge in Derek's tone, the implication buried beneath the politeness. Derek didn't believe them, not even a little. On the drive home, Luna stared out the window in silence. Adam waited until they were on the highway before speaking. "He doesn't believe us," Adam said. "No," Luna replied. "He doesn't." "What do we do?" Luna turned to look at him. "We keep playing the role. Eventually, he'll have to accept it." But Adam could hear the doubt in her voice. When they got back to the penthouse, Luna poured herself a glass of wine and stood by the window looking out at the city below. Adam hesitated in the doorway. "Do you want to talk about it?" he asked. Luna took a long drink. "There's nothing to talk about. Derek has always been like this, suspicious, calculating, waiting for me to fail." "Why?" Luna's reflection in the window looked tired. "Because our father always favored him, groomed him to take over the company from the time he was 16. I was an afterthought, a backup plan." She finished her wine. "And then my father died and left everything to me anyway, with one impossible condition attached. The marriage clause." "Yes." Luna set her glass down. "Derek has never forgiven me for it. He's been waiting for me to screw up ever since. And now he thinks he's found his proof." Adam stepped into the room. "Then we don't give him any." Luna looked at him. Really looked at him. For the first time since they'd met, her mask slipped just slightly. "Why are you really doing this, Adam?" He could have said the money, the debt, the practical reasons laid out in the contract. But standing there in her penthouse watching her try to hold herself together, Adam realized the truth was more complicated. "Because you're fighting a battle you didn't choose," he said quietly. "And I know what that feels like." Luna's expression softened, just for a second. Then she straightened the mask, sliding back into place. "Thank you for tonight," she said. "You did well. So did you." Luna nodded once and disappeared down the hallway to her room. Adam stood alone in the living room, surrounded by luxury he didn't belong in, committed to a lie he was starting to realize might be harder to maintain than either of them had anticipated. The first week in the penthouse felt like living in a museum where Adam was both the exhibit and the security guard. Luna left for the office before he woke up and returned after he had already eaten dinner alone at the kitchen island. They exchanged maybe 10 sentences a day, most of them logistical. "I have a late meeting tonight. There's food in the refrigerator. The cleaner comes on Thursdays." That was the extent of their marriage. Adam spent his evenings on the couch, flipping through television channels he didn't care about, waiting for the clock to tell him it was acceptable to go to bed. The penthouse was beautiful and empty and suffocating. On weekends he went back to his old neighborhood to see his daughter. Those were the only hours that felt real. She would run to him at the daycare entrance, arms outstretched, shouting, "Daddy," like she hadn't seen him in months instead of days. They would go to the park, or get ice cream, or sit on the floor of her room, playing with her dinosaur collection. He never told her about Luna. Never mentioned the penthouse or the contract or the life he was living Monday through Friday. As far as his daughter knew, Daddy just had to work a lot right now. When he dropped her off Sunday evenings, the weight of the lie settled heavier on his chest. 2 weeks after he moved in, Luna told him they had another family dinner. "This one's different," she said over breakfast on Saturday. She was dressed in workout clothes, her hair pulled back. Adam had never seen her exercise, but apparently she ran every Saturday morning. "It's at a restaurant downtown, the kind of place where they don't list prices on the menu." "Who's going to be there?" "Derek, 2 other board members. Maybe their wives." Luna poured herself coffee. "We need to be convincing." "Aren't we always?" Luna looked at him over the rim of her cup. "Derek is getting suspicious, I can tell. He's been asking questions at work, casual things, how long we've been together, whether we're planning to have children." Adam's stomach turned. "What did you tell him?" "That it's none of his business." Luna set her cup down. "But he's not going to stop. He's building a case, looking for cracks. Then we don't give him any." Luna nodded, but Adam could see the tension in her shoulders, the way her fingers tightened around the coffee cup. "We should practice," she said. "Practice what? Being married." Luna stood and walked around the island. She stopped in front of Adam, close enough that he could smell her perfume. Something expensive and subtle. "We need to be comfortable with each other. Right now, we look like strangers pretending." She was right. Adam knew she was right. "Okay," he said. "What do you want to practice?" Luna reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were warm this time. "Just this," she said, standing close, touching without flinching. They stood there in the kitchen, holding hands like awkward teenagers, and Adam realized how insane this whole situation was. He was being paid to hold this woman's hand, and somehow it was the most intimate thing he'd done in 3 years. The restaurant was everything Luna had promised. White tablecloths, crystal glassware, a string quartet playing in the corner. Derek was already seated when they arrived, flanked by 2 older men in tailored suits. Their wives sat beside them, dripping with jewelry and polite disinterest. Luna, Adam. Derek stood kissing Luna's cheek. The gesture looked affectionate, but felt like a threat. "Glad you could make it." They sat down. Adam's chair was close to Luna's. He could feel the heat of her leg near his. "So," said one of the board members, a man named Richard with a ruddy face and thinning hair, "how's married life treating you two?" "It's an adjustment," Luna said smoothly, "but a good one." "I'm sure." Richard's wife, a blonde woman whose name Adam had already forgotten, smiled. "Young love is always so exciting." Derek's eyes were on Adam, watching, calculating. "Adam," Derek said, "what is it you do again at the company?" "I'm a copywriter." "Right, copywriting." Derek leaned back in his chair. "Must be interesting work." "It has its moments." "And that's how you met my sister, through work?" Adam nodded. "We kept running into each other, break room, elevator. Eventually, we started talking." It was the story they'd rehearsed. Simple. Believable. Derek smiled. How romantic. The appetizers arrived. Oysters and some kind of delicate fish that Adam didn't recognize. Conversation drifted to business. Market projections. A potential merger. Things Adam didn't understand and wasn't expected to contribute to. Luna's hand found his under the table. The touch was brief, just her fingers brushing against his palm, but it looked natural, like something a wife would do. Adam squeezed her hand gently. When he glanced at her, Luna's expression was calm, but he saw something flicker in her eyes. Gratitude, maybe, or relief. Dinner continued, course after course. The other board member, a quiet man named Gerald, asked about their wedding. "It was small," Luna said. "Just us and a witness. We didn't want a big production." "How modern," Gerald's wife said, though her tone suggested she thought it was anything but. Derek took a sip of his wine. "I was disappointed I wasn't invited." "It was very last minute," Luna replied. "Clearly." Derek set his glass down. "I've always thought you'd end up with someone from our circle, Luna. Someone who understands the family business, the responsibilities that come with the Sterling name." The table went quiet. Luna's hand tightened on Adam's. "Adam understands more than you give him credit for," she said, her voice steady. Derek's smile didn't waver. "I hope so, because this company isn't kind to people who don't belong." The threat hung in the air, barely disguised. Adam felt his jaw clench. But Luna's thumb moved against his palm, a tiny gesture that said, "Let it go." So he did. The rest of dinner passed in careful politeness. By the time they left, Adam's shoulders ached from the tension. In the car, Luna didn't speak. She stared out the window, her face illuminated by passing streetlights. When they pulled into the parking garage beneath her building, she cut the engine but didn't move. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. Adam looked at her. "For what?" "For Derek. For this whole situation. For asking you to put up with people like him. I knew what I was signing up for." "Did you?" Luna turned to face him. "Did you really know what it would be like, having someone question your worth every time you walk into a room, having people look at you like you're a fraud?" Adam thought about the last 3 years. The pity in people's eyes when they learned he was a widower. The subtle condescension when they asked what he did for a living. The way other parents at his daughter's daycare looked at his worn shoes and second-hand jacket. "Yeah," he said. "I know what that's like." Luna studied his face. Then she nodded. "Thank you for tonight," she said, "for not losing your temper when Derek was being an ass. You're welcome." They sat there in the dim garage for another moment. Then Luna opened her door and got out. Adam followed her to the elevator, and neither of them spoke until they were back in the penthouse. Luna poured herself a glass of wine and stood by the window. Adam hesitated, then poured himself one too. "Can I ask you something?" he said. Luna glanced at him. "That depends on what it is. Why didn't you just find someone from your world to marry? Someone Derek couldn't question." Luna took a long drink. "Because everyone in my world wants something. Power, connections, a piece of the sterling fortune. I needed someone who would walk away when this was over. Someone who wouldn't try to hold on. And you think I won't? I think you're honest enough to keep your word." Luna set her glass down. "That's rare, in my experience." Adam didn't know what to say to that. They stood by the window together, drinking wine and watching the city lights, and something shifted between them. Something small but significant. The wall between them had developed the first tiny crack. 1 week later, the power went out. A storm rolled through the city just after 10 at night, knocking out electricity across 3 neighborhoods. The penthouse went dark. Adam was in the living room when it happened. He heard Luna's office door open. "Adam, I'm here." Luna appeared in the doorway, holding her phone like a flashlight. The glow illuminated her face from below, casting strange shadows. "There's candles in the kitchen," she said. "Top drawer by the sink." Adam found them. He also found a bottle of red wine and 2 glasses. When he returned to the living room, Luna was sitting on the couch, her legs tucked beneath her. She had changed into sweatpants and an oversized sweater. Her hair was down. She looked human. Adam set the candles on the coffee table and poured the wine. "Cheers," he said, handing her a glass. "To blackouts." Luna took a sip. They sat in silence for a while. Outside, rain hammered against the windows. "Can I ask you something?" Luna said. "You're allowed to ask me questions. That's not against the rules. Why did you really agree to this?" Adam took a drink. "You already know why." "I know what the contract says. I want to know what you were thinking when you signed it." Adam looked at the candles. The flames danced, throwing shadows across the white walls. "I was thinking about my daughter," he said finally. "About what kind of father lets his kid grow up poor when he has a chance to fix it. About whether that makes me a good dad or a sellout. And what did you decide? I decided it didn't matter. Because either way, she gets a better life." Luna nodded slowly. "Do you regret it?" "I don't know yet." Adam turned to look at her. "Do you regret it?" "No." Luna's answer was immediate. "I'd do whatever it takes to keep Derek from winning. I've spent too long building this company to let him tear it down." "Is that what he'd do?" "Yes." Luna's voice was hard. "Derek doesn't care about sterling marketing. He cares about winning, about proving he was the rightful heir. If he got control, he'd gut the company for parts and sell it to the highest bidder within a year. That's why you're doing this. That's why I'm doing everything." The candles flickered. Thunder rumbled in the distance. "Can I ask you something now?" Adam said. "Fair's fair. What was it like growing up in that house?" Luna was quiet for a long time. Adam thought maybe he'd crossed a line. Then she spoke. "It was like being invisible until it was convenient for you not to be. My father barely looked at me until I turned 25 and started showing an aptitude for marketing. Derek was the golden child, the son, the heir. I was just there, a backup plan in case Derek failed." "But he didn't fail." "No, he excelled at everything. Sports, school, business, and he made sure I knew it." Luna finished her wine and set the glass down. When our father wrote that will and left everything to me, Derek didn't see it as our father finally recognizing my worth. He saw it as me stealing what was rightfully his. That's insane. That's my family. Adam poured them both more wine. What about you? Luna asked. What was your family like? Adam hesitated. He hadn't talked about this in years. Normal, boring. My parents were teachers. They died in a car accident when I was 23. I met my wife a year later. He took a breath. She was a nurse, smart, kind, way too good for me. What happened to her? Cancer. Started in her breast, spread to her lungs. By the time they caught it, it was stage 4. Adam's voice stayed steady, but his hands tightened around his glass. We spent the last 6 months of her life in and out of the hospital. Chemo, radiation, experimental treatments that didn't work. She died 3 weeks after our daughter's 3rd birthday. I'm sorry. Me too. They sat in the dark, the silence stretching between them. I don't know how you did it, Luna said quietly. Watching someone you love die. Raising a child alone. Keeping going. You don't have a choice. You just do. That takes strength. Adam shook his head. It takes stubbornness. There's a difference. Luna smiled, just a little. Maybe they're the same thing. The power flickered back on 2 hours later, flooding the penthouse with harsh light. Both of them blinked against the sudden brightness. Luna stood collecting the wine glasses. I should get back to work. She paused at the doorway and looked back at him. Thank you, she said. For what? For telling me the truth. Then she disappeared down the hallway. Adam sat alone in the living room staring at the candles they'd left burning. Something had changed tonight. Something neither of them had planned for. The wall had cracked a little wider. The following Saturday, Adam mentioned over breakfast that he was taking his daughter to the park. Luna looked up from her laptop. Which park? Riverside. Why? Luna hesitated. Could I come? Adam blinked. You want to go to a park? I want to see what your life looks like outside of this. Luna gestured around the penthouse. If that's okay. Adam wasn't sure it was okay. He had kept his daughter completely separate from this arrangement. That was the deal. But Luna wasn't asking to be introduced as his wife. She was asking to observe. Okay, he said. But she can't know about any of this. I understand. Adam was pushing his daughter on the swings when Luna arrived. She was wearing jeans and a plain white sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. No makeup. Sneakers instead of heels. She looked younger, more approachable. His daughter noticed her first. Daddy, who's that lady? Adam caught the swing and turned around. Luna stood a few feet away looking uncertain. That's a friend of mine, Adam said. His daughter hopped off the swing and walked over to Luna with the fearless curiosity only 6-year-olds possessed. Are you Daddy's girlfriend? Luna's eyes went wide. She looked at Adam, panicked. Luna started. She's a friend, Adam said quickly. Just a friend. His daughter squinted up at Luna. You're really pretty. Luna's expression softened. Thank you. You're very pretty too. I know. His daughter grabbed Luna's hand. Do you want to see my dinosaurs? I brought my favorite ones. Before Luna could answer, she was being dragged toward the playground equipment. Adam followed, bemused. His daughter dumped out her backpack on a bench, revealing a collection of plastic dinosaurs in various states of wear. This is Terry. He's a T-Rex. And this is Trina. She's a Triceratops. They're married. Luna sat down on the bench, completely focused on the dinosaurs. Are they happy? Adam's daughter considered this. Mostly. Sometimes Terry eats too much and Trina gets mad, but they always make up. That sounds like a good marriage, Luna said seriously. Adam watched them together. Luna listening intently as his daughter explained the complex social dynamics of her dinosaur collection. His daughter glowing under the attention. After 20 minutes of dinosaur drama, his daughter announced she wanted to go on the swings again. "You can push me," she told Luna. Luna looked at Adam. He nodded. She was gentle with the swing. Careful, like she was afraid of breaking something. "Higher," his daughter demanded. Luna pushed a little harder. Adam stood to the side watching. There was something in Luna's expression. Something soft and sad, like she was seeing a life she might have wanted but never let herself imagine. After an hour, his daughter started to get tired. "We should probably go," Adam said. His daughter hugged Luna's legs. "Will you come back?" Luna looked at Adam. He shrugged. "Maybe," Luna said. "If your dad says it's okay." "He will. He likes you, I can tell." Luna's cheeks colored slightly. They walked back to the parking lot together, his daughter between them, holding both their hands. "Bye, Daddy's friend," his daughter called as she climbed into Adam's car. Luna waved. After Adam buckled his daughter in and closed the door, he turned to Luna. "Thank you," he said, "for being kind to her." "She's wonderful." Luna's voice was thick. "You're doing an amazing job." "I'm doing my best. It shows." Luna walked to her car without looking back. Adam got in his own car and glanced in the rearview mirror. His daughter was already half asleep, clutching Terry the T-Rex. "I like her, Daddy," she mumbled. "Me too," Adam said quietly, and realized with some surprise that he meant it. 1 week later, Luna informed him they needed wedding photos. "The board needs proof," she said. "Something they can see if they start asking questions." They met the photographer at a studio downtown on a Thursday afternoon. He was a professional used to working with corporate clients, efficient and impersonal. "Let's start with something simple," he said. "Stand close together." Adam and Luna positioned themselves in front of a white backdrop. "Closer," the photographer said. They moved closer. "Look at each other." Adam turned to Luna. She was already looking at him. The photographer snapped several shots. "Good. Now, Luna, rest your head on Adam's shoulder." Luna hesitated for just a second. Then she leaned into him. Adam could feel her heart beating, or maybe that was his own. "Adam, put your arm around her waist." Adam placed his hand on Luna's waist. She was warm, solid, real. "Perfect. Hold that." The camera clicked repeatedly. "Now I want you to look at each other," the photographer said, "like you're in love." Adam turned his head. Luna was already looking up at him. Their eyes met, and something happened. Adam saw past the Ice Queen, past the corporate armor, past the calculated performance. He saw Luna, vulnerable, afraid, desperate for this to work because the alternative was losing everything she'd built. The camera clicked. Luna stepped back immediately. "I think that's enough." The photographer showed them the preview on his screen. The last photo was perfect, too perfect. They looked like a couple in love, because for one split second the performance had felt real. On the drive home, neither of them spoke. When they got back to the penthouse, Luna went straight to her office and closed the door. Adam sat on the couch and stared at the ceiling. The cracks in the wall were spreading, and he was starting to realize that the lines they had drawn so carefully at the beginning were not as clear as either of them had thought. 3 weeks after the wedding photos, Derek made his move. Luna was in her office when the email arrived. Adam was working from home, sitting at the kitchen island with his laptop open when he heard her door slam. She emerged 10 seconds later, her face pale. "What's wrong?" Adam stood. Luna handed him her phone. The email was addressed to the entire board of directors. Subject line: concerns regarding executive leadership and corporate governance. Adam scanned the contents. Corporate speak wrapped around a knife. Derek had raised questions about Luna's recent decisions, her judgment, her commitment to the company's long-term stability. He suggested the board convene for an emergency meeting to discuss these concerns. He didn't mention the marriage directly, but the implication was clear. "He knows," Luna said. Her voice was steady, but Adam could see her hands shaking. "Or he thinks he knows. Either way, he's coming for me." "What does this mean?" Luna took the phone back and started pacing. "It means Derek is going to try to prove our marriage is fake. He's going to dig into your background, find the contract, expose everything. Can he do that? If he looks hard enough, yes." Luna stopped pacing. "We've been careful, but not careful enough. There's a paper trail, the debt payments, the salary increase, the timeline." Adam's stomach dropped. "So, what do we do?" Luna looked at him, really looked at him. "We need to be more convincing," she said. "Not just at dinners and photo shoots, all the time. We need to act like a real couple, in public, at the office, everywhere. Okay? Derek is going to push, he's going to test us, and if he finds even one crack, he'll tear the whole thing apart." Adam nodded. "Then we don't give him any cracks." Luna's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her expression hardened. "Derek wants to meet with you, alone." The message had come from Derek's personal number, not his work email. "Coffee tomorrow morning, just the two of us. We should talk." Adam showed it to Luna. "Don't go," she said immediately. "If I don't, he'll know something's wrong. He's going to try to buy you off, or threaten you, or both." Luna's eyes were sharp. "This is a trap." "Probably, but I have to walk into it anyway." Luna was quiet for a moment. Then she went to her office and returned with a small device. "Recording pen," she said, handing it to him. "Keep it in your pocket. Record everything." "Is that legal?" "I don't care." Luna's jaw was set. "If Derek is going to play dirty, so are we." They met at a coffee shop on the east side of downtown. Neutral territory. Derek was already there when Adam arrived, sitting in a corner booth with a perfect view of the door. He smiled when he saw Adam. "Thanks for coming," Derek said, as Adam slid into the seat across from him. "I appreciate it." "What did you want to talk about?" Derek gestured to the barista. "Coffee first. This is a friendly conversation." Adam ordered black coffee. Derek already had some elaborate espresso drink in front of him. "I'll be direct," Derek said once the barista left. "I know what my sister is doing." Adam kept his expression neutral. "What do you think she's doing?" "Come on, Adam. We're both adults here." Derek leaned forward. "Luna hired you. I don't know the exact terms, but I can guess. She paid off your debts, offered you money, asked you to play the part of her husband so she could satisfy our father's ridiculous will." Adam said nothing. "I'm not judging you," Derek continued. "If anything, I respect the hustle. You saw an opportunity, and you took it. That's smart. That's survival. You didn't ask me here to compliment me." Derek smiled. "No, I asked you here to offer you a way out." "A way out of what? This situation? Before it gets ugly." Derek took a sip of his drink. "Luna is going to lose Adam. Maybe not today, maybe not next month, but eventually the board is going to see through this charade, and when they do, Luna is going to fall. Hard." "You seem pretty confident about that." "I am, because I know my sister. She's brilliant, I'll give her that. But she's also arrogant. She thinks she can control everything, and that's going to be her downfall." Adam's coffee arrived. He wrapped his hands around the cup, feeling the heat through the ceramic. "Here's what I'm offering," Derek said. "Walk away now, today. I'll make sure the contract stays buried. No one will ever know about the arrangement. You keep whatever money Luna has already given you. You go back to your life. Your daughter never has to know any of this happened. And if I don't..." Derek's smile faded. "Then, when Luna falls, you fall with her. Your name gets dragged through the press. Your daughter finds out her father sold himself for money. Your reputation is destroyed." He let that sink in. Or, Derek said, "You take the smart play, the safe play, you walk away clean." Adam looked at Derek, at his expensive suit and his practiced smile and his absolute certainty that everyone had a price. "Why are you doing this?" Adam asked. "Why not just expose the contract now?" "Because I want Luna to know she lost fair and square. I want her to watch it all crumble. And having you disappear, that's the first domino." Derek leaned back. "Think about it. Think about your daughter. Think about what's best for her." Derek stood, leaving a $20 bill on the table. "You've got 48 hours, he said. "After that, the offer expires." He walked out. Adam sat there for a long time, the coffee going cold in his hands. The recording pen was still running in his pocket. Adam went straight back to the penthouse. Luna was waiting in the living room, pacing like a caged animal. "What did he say?" Adam pulled out the recording pen and set it on the coffee table. "Listen for yourself." They sat on the couch together while the recording played. Derek's voice filled the room, smooth and confident and utterly ruthless. When it finished, Luna was silent. "He's right, you know," Adam said quietly. Luna's head snapped toward him. "What? About this getting ugly? About you potentially losing?" Adam turned to face her. "I walked into this with my eyes open, but my daughter didn't. If this blows up, she's going to find out. She's going to know her father lied to her. So you're taking his offer." It wasn't a question, it was a statement. Flat, resigned. "No," Adam said. Luna blinked. "No, Derek is wrong about one thing. This isn't going to end with us falling. It's going to end with us still standing." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I've lost before. I've watched everything I cared about slip away while I stood there helpless, and I'm not doing that again." Adam met her eyes. "You're fighting for something you built, something that matters. And I'm not going to let Derek win just because he threatened the right things." Luna stared at him. "You're staying." "I'm staying." Why? Adam thought about that. About all the reasons he could give. The money, the contract, the debt to his daughter's future. But none of those were true anymore. "Because you stood in that boardroom 3 weeks ago and defended me to Derek," he said. "Because you sat with my daughter in the park and treated her like she mattered. Because you're trying to build something real in a world full of people like Derek who only care about winning." Luna's eyes were bright. "He's going to destroy us. Maybe, but at least we'll go down fighting." Luna reached out and took his hand. Not for show. Not for practice. Just because she needed to. "Thank you," she whispered. Adam squeezed her hand. "Don't thank me yet. We still have to survive whatever comes next." Derek moved faster than either of them expected. Within 4 days of their coffee shop conversation, Luna received a notification that an emergency board meeting had been called. The subject line was vague. Something about reviewing executive leadership and corporate governance, but Luna knew exactly what it meant. Derek had found something, or thought he had. Either way, he was ready to make his play. The meeting was scheduled for Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. Luna told Adam he didn't need to come. "This is a board meeting. You're not on the board. There's no reason for you to be there." "I'm your husband," Adam said. "If Derek is going to try to burn you, I want to be in the room." Luna looked like she wanted to argue. Then she nodded. Okay. The night before the meeting, Adam couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the dark ceiling, running through every possible scenario in his head. Derek had the contract. He had the financial records. He had proof that Luna had paid off Adam's debts. There was no good way to spin that. Around 3 a.m, Adam gave up on sleep. He got out of bed and walked to the kitchen. Luna was already there. She was sitting at the island in sweatpants and an oversized sweater, her hair pulled back in a messy bun. No makeup, no armor. Just Luna. Couldn't sleep either, Adam asked. No. Adam poured himself a glass of water and leaned against the counter. What are you going to do tomorrow? He asked. Luna was quiet for a long moment. I'm going to tell the truth, she said finally. I'm going to admit that the marriage was a contract, that I paid you, that I asked you to pretend. And then I'm going to remind the board that my father's will was outdated and controlling, and that I did what I needed to do to work around it. I'm going to point out that I've spent the last 3 years increasing revenue by 38%, that I've expanded into 2 new markets, that Sterling Marketing Solutions is one of the most respected firms in the industry under my leadership. Do you think it'll work? No. Luna's voice was hollow. But it's the only move I have left. They sat in silence, then Adam said, I'm not going to let you do this alone. Luna looked at him. There's nothing you can do. Derek has the evidence. I can't fight facts. Maybe I can't fight the facts, but I can fight Derek. What does that mean? Adam thought about the recording in his pocket, about Derek's smug certainty that everyone could be bought. It means I'm not going down without making sure Derek comes with us. Luna studied his face. Why are you doing this? Really? You could walk away right now, take Derek's offer, protect your daughter, start over. You asked me that before. I'm asking again. Adam set his water glass down. Because I've spent the last 3 years running. From grief. From responsibility. From anything that felt too hard or too complicated. And this is the first time in a long time that I feel like I'm actually fighting for something that matters. We're going to lose. Maybe, but at least I'll lose standing up. Luna smiled. Just a little. You're either very brave or very stupid. Probably both. Luna reached across the island and took his hand. They sat there in the dark kitchen until the sun started to rise, holding hands like they were the only 2 people in the world about to go to war. The boardroom was on the 40th floor. All glass walls and expensive leather chairs. Adam sat beside Luna at the far end of the table facing Derek and the rest of the board. There were 7 people in total, not counting Luna and Adam. Derek sat at the head of the table, his expression calm and confident. He looked like a man who had already won. The board chair, a man in his 60s named Gregory, called the meeting to order. Thank you all for coming on short notice, Gregory said. His voice was measured formal. There are some concerns that have been raised regarding leadership stability. I'm going to turn the floor over to Derek. Derek stood. He straightened his tie and smiled. I want to start by saying I have nothing but respect for my sister, he began. Luna has worked hard. She's brought some innovative ideas to the table. But recently, I've become aware of some troubling information that suggests Luna has not been entirely forthcoming with the board about her personal life. He opened a folder and pulled out a stack of documents. I have proof that Luna's marriage to Adam Bennett is not what it appears to be. He laid out the evidence piece by piece. The contract, signed and notarized. The financial transfers. Luna's personal account to Adam's, exact amounts matching his outstanding debts. The timeline. Adam's debt paid off 3 days after the contract was signed. His salary doubled 2 weeks later. Derek presented it all with clinical precision. Luna hired Adam to play the role of her husband so she could satisfy the terms of our father's will, Derek said. This is fraud. This is manipulation, and it calls into question her integrity and her fitness to lead this company. The room went silent. All eyes turned to Luna. She sat perfectly still, her hands folded on the table in front of her. Then she stood. "Derek is right," she said. A ripple of surprise went through the room. "I entered into a contract with the Adam. I paid his debts. I asked him to pretend to be my husband for 6 months. Luna's voice was steady, clear. "All of that is true, and I'm not going to apologize for it." Derek's smile widened. "The problem isn't that I hired Adam," Luna continued. "The problem is that our father wrote a will that treated marriage like a qualification for leadership. It was archaic, it was insulting, and I did what I needed to do to work around it." She turned to face the board. "I've spent the last 3 years running this company. Revenue is up 38%. We've expanded into 2 new markets. Sterling Marketing Solutions is one of the most respected firms in the industry. None of that would have been possible if Derek had been in charge." Derek's smile faded. "That's not the point. The point is you lied. I played the game I was forced to play. You broke the rules. The rules were broken to begin with." They stared at each other across the table. Years of resentment crackled in the air between them. Then Adam stood up. Every head in the room turned toward him. "I have something to say," Adam said. Gregory raised an eyebrow. "Is it relevant?" "Very." Adam pulled out his phone and set it on the table. 4 days ago, Derek came to me. He asked me to meet him at a coffee shop, and he offered me money to walk away from Luna. Derek went very still. He told me that Luna was going to fall, that I should take the smart play and disappear before things got ugly. He promised to bury the contract if I just walked away and let him win. "That's a lie," Derek said. Adam opened his phone and played the recording. Derek's voice filled the room, smooth and confident and utterly damning. "Walk away now. Today. I'll make sure the contract stays buried. No one will ever know about the arrangement. You keep whatever money Luna has already given you." The board members exchanged glances. Gregory's expression hardened. "Is this recording accurate?" Derek's jaw clenched. "It was taken out of context. It sounds pretty clear to me." Adam wasn't finished. "While preparing for this meeting, Luna gave me access to her internal files. She wanted me to understand what we were up against, and I found something interesting." He pulled out a folder and handed it to Gregory. "Derek has been using his executive access to monitor Luna's emails and calendar for months. He's been tracking her meetings, her communications with the board, even her personal correspondence." Gregory opened the folder. Inside were printed email logs, access records, timestamps showing Derek had been systematically accessing Luna's accounts. "This is a direct violation of company policy," Adam said, "and a breach of fiduciary duty." The room erupted in whispers. Gregory flipped through the documents, his face growing darker with each page. "Is this true?" he asked Derek. "I was conducting due diligence. This looks like corporate espionage." Another board member, a woman named Patricia, leaned forward. "This is grounds for immediate removal." Derek's composure finally cracked. "You can't be serious." "Deadly serious," Patricia said. "You violated company policy. You breached your fiduciary duty. And you tried to bribe a witness." Adam looked at Luna. She was staring at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "I stayed because Luna is the best person to run this company," Adam said, addressing the board. "Contract or no contract. I've seen her work harder than anyone I've ever met. She hasn't manipulated anyone. She just refused to let an outdated rule destroy everything she's built. He turned to Gregory. If this board wants to punish someone, punish the system that forced her into this position in the first place. The room went quiet. Gregory looked at Derek, then at Luna, then at Adam. The board needs time to deliberate, he said. Everyone except board members, please leave the room. Luna. Adam and Derek filed out into the hallway. Derek glared at Adam with pure hatred. You just made a very big mistake, he said. I don't think so, Adam replied. Derek walked away without another word. Luna and Adam stood in the hallway waiting. Neither of them spoke. The silence stretched between them heavy with everything unsaid. After 30 minutes that felt like 30 hours, the boardroom door opened. Gregory stepped out. The board has reached a decision. Luna's hand found Adam's. Gregory cleared his throat. Derek is being removed from his position on the board for ethical violations and abuse of executive access, effective immediately. Derek, who had been standing down the hall, went white. Luna will retain her position as vice president. However, the marriage contract must be dissolved within 30 days. Luna's grip on Adam's hand tightened. Additionally, the board will be reviewing the terms of your father's will with legal counsel. We believe the marriage clause may be challenged and potentially removed entirely. Gregory looked at Luna. It's not a perfect outcome, but it's the best we can do given the circumstances. He paused. You're lucky to have someone willing to stand up for you the way Adam did. Then he went back into the boardroom and closed the door. Luna turned to Adam. For a long moment, she just looked at him. Then she said, Thank you. You don't need to thank me. Yes, I do. They walked to the parking garage together in silence. When they reached Luna's car, she stopped and turned to face him. The contract is over, she said. You don't have to stay. I know. Are you going to leave? Adam looked at her. At the woman who had bought 6 months of his life and somehow ended up with more than that. I don't know yet, he said honestly. I need to figure out what my life looks like now that it's not being dictated by a piece of paper. Luna nodded. I understand. She got in her car. Adam watched her drive away, her taillights disappearing into the afternoon traffic. He stood there in the parking garage feeling something heavy settle in his chest. They had won, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like the end of something he hadn't realized he wanted to keep. Part 5, the end and the beginning. 1 week after the board meeting, Adam started packing his things. Luna wasn't home when he did it. She had said goodbye the night before, standing in the doorway of his room, her expression carefully neutral. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for, she had said. Adam had replied, same to you. And that had been it. Now he was folding clothes into the same duffel bags he'd arrived with 3 months ago. 3 months that felt like 3 years. 3 months that had changed everything and nothing. The penthouse was quiet. It was always quiet. But now the silence felt different. Heavy. Final. Adam zipped the last bag and looked around the room. The bed was made. The surfaces were clear. It looked exactly like it had the day he'd moved in. Like he had never been there at all. He called a car service and loaded his things into the trunk. The doorman nodded politely like he'd seen 100 people come and go from this building, and Adam was just one more. Maybe he was. The drive back to his old neighborhood took 40 minutes. Traffic was light for a Thursday afternoon. When the car pulled up in front of his building, Adam felt something twist in his chest. The peeling paint on the facade, the broken intercom, the smell of cooking oil and garbage that permeated the hallway. This was home. This was real. He carried his bags up 3 flights of stairs because the elevator was broken again. Unlocked his door, stepped inside. The apartment was exactly as he'd left it. Small, cramped, ordinary. But it was his. Adam set his bags down and sat on the couch, the same couch where he'd read Luna's contract for the first time, where he'd made the decision that had turned his life upside down. His phone buzzed. Miss Carter from the daycare. His daughter was ready to be picked up. Adam stood. This was his life now. Picking up his daughter, making dinner, reading bedtime stories, the rhythm he'd known before Luna Sterling had walked into it. Everything was the same. Except it wasn't. Because he kept thinking about the woman in the penthouse. The one who had bought his time but had somehow ended up with more than that. That evening, Adam made spaghetti while his daughter colored at the kitchen table. "I missed you, Daddy," she said, not looking up from her drawing. "I missed you too, baby. Are you going to live here again for real?" Adam paused the pasta spoon in his hand. "Yeah, for real." "Good." She switched to a purple crayon. "I didn't like you being gone all the time." Guilt twisted in Adam's stomach. "I know. I'm sorry. It's okay." She held up her drawing. It was a picture of the two of them holding hands, stick figures with big smiles. "We're together now." "Yeah," Adam said softly. "We are." After dinner, he gave her a bath and read her 3 dinosaur books. She fell asleep clutching Terry the T-Rex, her breathing soft and even. Adam stood in her doorway for a long time watching her. This was what mattered. This was what he'd done it all for. So why did it feel like something was missing? He went to bed early but couldn't sleep. He lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Luna, sitting alone in that massive penthouse. Thinking about the way she'd looked at him in the parking garage. Like she was trying to memorize his face. Thinking about the way her hand had felt in his during the board meeting. Steady. Real. Around midnight, Adam gave up on sleep and got up to get water. His phone was on the kitchen counter screen glowing with a notification. A message from Luna. Adam's heart kicked against his ribs. He picked up the phone and opened the message. "I want to see you. Not as your boss. Not as your ex-wife. Just as me, if you're willing." Adam stared at the words for a long time. He could ignore this. Delete the message. Move on with his life. Go back to the rhythm he'd known before. Or he could do something terrifying. He could say yes. His fingers moved before his brain caught up. When the reply came almost immediately. "Tomorrow, there's a coffee shop on the east side. Small place. Quiet." Adam typed back. "What time? 2 o'clock. I'll be there." He set the phone down and exhaled slowly. What was he doing? The contract was over. The debt was paid. He'd fulfilled his end of the bargain. He didn't owe Luna anything. But as Adam climbed back into bed and closed his eyes, he realized owing had nothing to do with it. He wanted to see her, and that was the most terrifying thing of all. The coffee shop was exactly what Luna had described. Small, mismatched furniture, indie music playing just a little too loud. Adam arrived 5 minutes early and ordered black coffee. Luna was already there, sitting by the window. She was wearing jeans and a plain white shirt. No makeup. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. She looked nervous. Adam had never seen Luna look nervous before. He walked over and sat down across from her. "Hi," he said. "Hi." Luna's hands were wrapped around a mug of tea. Her knuckles were white. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Luna spoke. "I've been thinking about the last few months. About everything that happened, about the way it ended." She took a breath. "I've spent so long pretending to be someone I'm not that I forgot what it felt like to just be honest." Adam waited. "I want to try that now. With you, if you're willing." "What does that mean?" Luna met his eyes. "It means no contract, no performance, no conditions. Just two people who went through something strange and difficult together, trying to figure out if there's something real underneath all of it. She paused. I don't know if it will work, but I want to try. Her voice dropped. Do you? Adam looked at her, really looked at her. He saw the woman who had stood in front of a boardroom and refused to apologize for fighting for what was hers. The woman who had sat with him in the dark during the blackout and told him the truth about her family. The woman who had crouched down in the park and listened to his daughter explain dinosaur politics like it was the most important thing in the world. The woman who had held his hand in the parking garage and looked at him like he was the only solid thing in a world that was crumbling. Yes, Adam said, I want to try. Luna's shoulders relaxed, just slightly. I don't know how to do this, she admitted. The real thing. I've spent so long performing that I'm not sure I remember how to just be. Me neither. Adam smiled. My wife died 3 years ago. I haven't even thought about dating since then. I don't know what I'm doing. So we're both terrible at this. Apparently, Luna laughed. It was small and genuine and the most beautiful sound Adam had heard in months. Where do we even start? She asked. I don't know. Coffee, I guess. Talking. Getting to know each other without a contract dictating the terms. That sounds terrifying. It really does. They sat there drinking their coffee, and the silence wasn't awkward anymore. It was comfortable, easy. After a few minutes, Luna spoke again. Can I ask you something? Always. What was your wife really like? Not just the facts, the person. Adam thought about that, about Sarah, about the life they'd had together before cancer had stolen it away. She was stubborn, he said finally. Impossibly stubborn. Once she made up her mind about something, there was no changing it. She decided she loved me on our second date. Told me straight out I thought she was crazy. Were you in love with her? Not yet. But she was so sure that I figured I should at least give it a shot. Adam smiled at the memory. Took me 3 months to catch up, but once I did, I was all in. What would she think about all of this? About you and me? Adam considered the question seriously. I think she'd be pissed that I waited 3 years to even consider moving on. She made me promise before she died that I wouldn't spend the rest of my life alone, that I'd find someone who made me happy. He looked at Luna. I think she'd like you. She always respected people who fought for what they believed in. Luna's eyes were bright. I wish I could have met her. Me too. They talked for 2 hours. About everything and nothing. Luna told him about growing up invisible in the Sterling mansion. About the first time she'd pitched an idea in a boardroom and been ignored until a male colleague repeated the exact same thing and got credit for it. Adam told her about his parents, about meeting Sarah at a hospital fundraiser, about the first time he'd held his daughter and felt simultaneously terrified and complete. They talked about books they'd read and movies they'd hated, and the ridiculous things their respective families had done. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Adam realized he was happy, actually happy, for the first time in 3 years. When they finally left the coffee shop, the sun was starting to set. They stood on the sidewalk, neither of them quite ready to leave. I should get back, Adam said. I need to pick up my daughter from my neighbors. Of course, Luna nodded. Thank you for coming. Thank you for asking. Luna hesitated. Then she asked the question that had been hanging between them since the very first day. So, she said, a small smile playing at her lips, are we sharing a bed? Adam laughed, really laughed, the kind of laugh that came from somewhere deep and genuine. Maybe, he said, but not tonight. That's fair. They stood there for another moment, just looking at each other. Then Luna did something Adam didn't expect. She stepped forward and hugged him, not the careful, calculated touches they'd performed for cameras and family dinners. This was real. her arms around him, her face pressed against his shoulder. Adam hugged her back. When they pulled apart, Luna's eyes were wet. "I'm glad you stayed," she whispered. "Me too." Over the next few weeks, they fell into a pattern. Coffee on Tuesdays, dinner on Thursdays. Sometimes Luna would come to the park when Adam took his daughter sitting on the bench and watching them play. His daughter never asked who Luna was. She just accepted her presence the way kids accept most things, with easy, uncomplicated joy. "I like her," she told Adam one Saturday. "She's nice, and she always remembers which dinosaur is which." Adam smiled. "Yeah, she's pretty great." "Are you going to marry her for real this time?" Adam nearly choked on his coffee. "What? Terry and Trina got married twice. The first time didn't count because it was pretend, the second time was real." His daughter looked at him with the serious expression only 6-year-olds could pull off. "Is this the real time?" Adam crouched down to her level. "Maybe, someday, if we both want it, but right now we're just getting to know each other." "Okay." She hugged him. "I hope you do marry her. She makes you smile." After she ran off to play, Adam sat on the bench and thought about that. Luna did make him smile. For the first time since Sarah died, he felt like he could breathe without it hurting. Like maybe, just maybe, he could build a life that wasn't defined by grief and survival. Like maybe he could actually be happy again. 2 months after the board meeting, Luna invited Adam to dinner at the penthouse. "I'm cooking," she warned him. "So lower your expectations significantly." Adam brought wine and arrived at 7. The penthouse looked different. Softer somehow. There were photos on the side table, a blanket draped over the couch. Signs of life instead of sterile perfection. Luna answered the door in jeans and a sweater, her hair down around her shoulders. She looked beautiful. "Come in," she said, stepping aside. Dinner was pasta. Simple, a little overcooked, but made with actual effort. They ate at the kitchen island instead of the formal dining room, talking and laughing like they'd been doing this for years instead of months. After dinner, they moved to the couch with the rest of the wine. Luna sat close to him, closer than necessary. "Can I tell you something?" she asked. "Always. I was terrified of this, of trying something real with you. Because what if it didn't work? What if we'd ruined any chance we had by starting with a lie? And now—" Luna looked at him. "Now, I think maybe the lie helped us get to the truth faster. We skipped all the games people play when they're dating. All the pretending to be someone they're not. We already saw each other at our worst. So now we get to just be ourselves." Adam set his wine glass down and took her hand. "I'm glad we're doing this," he said. "The real version. No contracts, no performances. Just us." "Just us," Luna echoed. She leaned forward. Adam met her halfway. Their lips touched. Soft, tentative, real. When they pulled apart, Luna was smiling. "That was nice," she said. "Yeah, it was. Can we do it again?" Adam laughed. "Absolutely." They kissed again. Slower this time. Deeper. And for the first time in 3 months, it wasn't about convincing anyone. It wasn't about playing a role. It was just 2 people who had found each other in the most unlikely way, trying to build something real from the ashes of a lie. Later that night, as Adam was getting ready to leave, Luna walked him to the door. "Stay," she said quietly. Adam looked at her. "Are you sure I'm sure?" Luna's hand found his. "No contract, no conditions. Just you and me, if you want to." Adam thought about his daughter safe at his neighbor's for the night, about the empty apartment waiting for him, about all the reasons he could give for why this was too fast, too complicated, too soon. But he was tired of running from things that scared him, and Luna scared him, but in the best possible way. "Okay," he said, "I'll stay." Luna smiled and led him back inside. They didn't share a bed that night. Not the way the contract had once stipulated. Not for show or performance. But they fell asleep on the couch together, Luna's head on Adam's chest, his arms around her, and it felt more real than anything either of them had experienced in years. When Adam woke up in the early morning light, Luna was still asleep, her breathing soft and steady. He looked at her, at this complicated, brilliant, guarded woman who had somehow let him in, and he realized something. He was falling in love with her. Maybe he already had been somewhere in the middle of all the pretending, but now it was real. And that made all the difference. 3 months later, Adam and Luna were sitting in the same coffee shop where they'd had their first real conversation. "My lease is up next month," Adam said, stirring his coffee. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know. I could renew, or—" He looked at her. "I could move somewhere new. Somewhere with room for 2, maybe 3. Luna's eyes widened. "Are you asking what I think you're asking? I'm asking if you want to try living together. For real this time. No contract, no timeline, just us building a life. What about your daughter? She already asked me when you're moving in. Apparently Terry and Trina think it's a great idea." Luna laughed. "Well, if the dinosaurs approve. So, is that a yes?" Luna reached across the table and took his hand. "That's a yes." Adam smiled. "Good, because I was running out of rent money anyway." "You're terrible. You love me anyway." The words slipped out before Adam could stop them. Luna went very still. "I do," she said softly. "I love you. I don't know when it happened. Maybe it was during the blackout. Maybe it was when you stood up to Derek. Maybe it was in the park with your daughter. But somewhere along the way I fell in love with you." Adam's chest felt tight. "I love you too. The real you. Not the ice queen in the boardroom. Not the woman who hired me. Just you." They sat there holding hands across a coffee shop table and everything else fell away. No contracts. No performances. No fear. Just 2 people who had found each other in the most unlikely way and decided to build something real. Together. 6 months after the board meeting, Luna and Adam moved into a brownstone in a quiet neighborhood with good schools. His daughter got her own room with walls she could paint any color she wanted. She chose purple and covered them with glow-in-the-dark stars. Luna's office took up the second bedroom, but she worked from home more now. Made time for family dinners and park visits and dinosaur negotiations. They weren't married, not yet, but they were building a life, a real one, with all the messy, complicated, beautiful parts that came with actually loving someone. Derek had disappeared from their lives entirely. Last they'd heard, he'd taken a position at a firm in Chicago, far away from Luna and the company he'd spent so long trying to steal. The board had eventually removed the marriage clause from the Sterling Company bylaws. Luna had won that fight too, but she didn't need it anymore, because she'd found something better than a contract or a clever workaround. She'd found a partner, a family, a home, and so had Adam. One Sunday morning, Adam woke up to find Luna, already awake, propped up on her elbow, watching him. "What?" he asked, his voice rough with sleep. "I was just thinking," Luna said, "about how we started. About that first day when I asked you to pretend to be my husband. And I'm glad you said yes, even though it was crazy, even though we had no idea what we were doing." Adam smiled and pulled her closer. "Me too." "So," Luna said, her eyes dancing, "one more time, for the record. Are we sharing a bed?" Adam laughed. "Yes, we're sharing a bed, and a life and a future, all of it, for real this time." "Good," Luna whispered, "because I'm not letting you go." "Good," Adam whispered back, "because I'm not going anywhere, And in the next room, a 6-year-old girl slept peacefully clutching Terry the T-Rex, dreaming of a family that had started as a lie but had become the most real thing any of them had ever known. That's the end of Adam and Luna's story. What did you think? Did you see that ending coming? Drop a comment and let me know your favorite moment from their journey. And if you loved this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that will make you believe in second chances and unexpected love. Thanks for watching until the very end.